Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film Swiss Army Man. I think there's certain films that make you go, what the fuck is this? Where is this going? Can this work throughout the entire movie? And what exactly did I just sign up for? And at the beginning of Swiss Army Man, it's pretty clear what movie it's going to be. And yes, this is the farting corpse of Harry Potter movie. It's semi-unexplainable, but also very explainable. It's very juvenile, but also kind of philosophical. It almost defies explanation, but also feels very explainable. It is an odd fucking movie. And although several people in the audience I saw it with decided fairly early on that they could not handle this, like literally several minutes into the film, that farting Harry Potter or Harry Pooter was far too much for them and they absolutely had to leave. But as much as while you're watching it you're like, what? Or just not sure where it exactly is going, after sitting through the film in its entirety, I'm not exactly sure what I saw, and I'm not 100% sure it made its plot as much as maybe I think it did, but I definitely saw something, and it's not something I'm going to soon forget. A man named Hank, who is marooned on an island and about to hang himself when he sees a corpse wash up on the beach. Hank, who's played by Paul Dano, sees the corpse of Daniel Radcliffe and at first kind of ignores it and is going to kill himself, but then realizes that the corpse is farting and farting a lot, and then in the opening scene of the movie, this isn't a joke, rides the farting corpse of Daniel Radcliffe like a jet ski onto land and onto safety. Then Hank has to use the corpse that he's found called Manny, who eventually starts to talk and has other special powers, like he can shoot things out of his mouth, his erection is a compass, all sorts of things as they try to find their way back to society or any life of man at all after being marooned on an island together. This film is a survival buddy film where one of the buddies is a farting corpse with an erection compass. The Daniels, who are not related other than having the first name of Daniel, or at least not related as I'm to understand it, Daniel Scheinert and Daniel Kwan, have been music video directors for a while. They directed Little John's Turned Down for What, and a bunch of other music videos that I totally hadn't heard of until I saw this movie, and then watched them on YouTube after I read reviews. But they're fairly talented music video directors, and frankly, Swiss Army Man feels like a movie that's directed by a former music video director. It's very flashy, it's very nonsensical, it's very silly, it's very stylized. It's kind of like a weird marriage of music video director movies where it has the kind of stylized thing as most music video directors turned feature film directors do, where you feel like you're just watching like kind of their show reel and how visually impressive it can be, but also kind of showing the smart storytelling of someone like Spike Jonze or Michel Gondry, or at least when Michel Gondry had movies that people actually saw and or cared about. But it also has the style of that too. It almost has the style of that in such a way that I almost don't want to give them as much props for being original as I once did for Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry, because a lot of their style and the style of this movie feels very borrowed from Michel Gondry and Spike Jonze. Almost so heavily so, it kind of turned me off, particularly a lot of the music, which feels very much like, oh, this is an indie twee movie. I'm not exactly sure if they're doing that as kind of a satire or an ironic joke, or they're just not as interesting as having a farting corpse in your movie really is, but find this film so interesting. I am a little bit of letting that go, as much as that annoys me to see that in indie films, and specifically when he starts building certain things out of the woods and stuff. It feels very Wes Anderson. It feels like ready for the art house, like that special like art house movie that you can take your mom to, although it's still, again, a movie about a farting corpse and shit. So it's odd because it's very sweet. There's a real relationship to it. You can almost feel like these guys could eventually direct a big budget Hollywood movie, like how Hollywood's buying up indie directors, but you also know they couldn't possibly do that with this one because this movie's so fucking odd. And that's the interesting thing about it. As much as it does feel like a regular old indie movie, as much as it feels like it's something you've seen before, it's very much not like anything you've seen before. In fact, most of it I really was thinking, where is this going? How is this going to work? And by the end, I actually said, holy shit, this actually like really worked. this like fantastically worked. In fact, I think Swiss Army Man will probably be a lot better to watch on repeat viewings. I've read reviews from people who've seen it a second time, they like it a lot more, and watching it the first time, most of the time I'm trying to figure out what exactly it's doing. Not that I need everything to fit into a stupid genre box or something, but this movie is kind of so unexplainable. I think I like its sweetness, I like how like sophomoric it is, I like how silly it is, but I also like how surprising it is. You know, you're kind of wrapped up in this world of this guy carrying around a corpse, and I'm not exactly sure if it's insane or not, and kind of just living in the normalcy of it. It's a film that could be about many things, about raising a child, about experiencing life, about missing out on things, about survival, about a farting, well, it is actually about a farting corpse, so I guess it is about that. But it's kind of so crazy that I almost want to just chalk this up to like one of those crazy art house type of movies that a freshman in college will watch way too many times and laud far more than it ever should, but it also feels like a film I should laud far more than I ever should and totally get into. It's almost like shocking how much this film won me over by the end. I don't think it's the tightest film in the world, it's just so original in what it's doing. I kind of want to give it points just for being such a unique, beautiful snowflake. We don't really get these kind of movies using all these things, that all of their influences so heavily to make something completely their own as well. As much as it's within the Spike Jonze or Michel Gondry, I don't think those guys would make an entire film that's mostly about being a fart joke. A good fart joke, I will say, but still a fart joke. That's the rather shocking thing about it. Can a fart joke be this good? And as you're watching him fart and have erections and stuff, you're like, well, I think maybe it can. The two leads in this film, really the people who are in most of it, Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano, have amazing chemistry, almost like Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. Daniel Radcliffe might have given in this film one of his greatest performances post Harry Potter. It's almost shocking how good he is. Apparently most of the shots are actually him. A few, because of stunts and whatnot, weren't. The control he has over his body is simply amazing. It's kind of interesting, as much as Daniel Radcliffe is a new 2000s movie star, I mean obviously because of when the Harry Potter movies came out, he feels like an old school movie star who can do anything. And in Swiss Army Man, it's like I really believe in his acting ability, because he really steals the show, but he has such control over his body, like he's just not moving his eyes. Like he very much acts dead and only uses his mouth, and only uses certain parts of his body at certain parts of the movie, and he's so good at it, you really believe that this is a talking corpse, not a zombie, a talking corpse. And it's not an easy role to pull off, and Daniel Radcliffe does it amazingly. It is kind of surprising how good physically he is and emotionally. He kind of steals the movie from Paul Dano, but Paul Dano is like the conscience of the film. He's very much the lovable weirdo. He is kind of indie cinema's lovable weirdo, and although he's done it in something like Ruby Sparks, I think, or Sparkle, or whatever the fuck that movie was, sometimes it doesn't entirely work, but he uses kind of his gift as a really good actor in things like There Will Be Blood with his overall sweetness and weirdness, and you're kind of like whisked away into his world, and I almost believe his world so much. Then when you later learn more and more about it, I almost like take his side at first because I'm so with the movie. It's kind of shocking, but particularly his performance. Without the performances of these guys, this movie would probably be the stylized mess that it probably should be. A lot of this movie is like, holy crap, how did this work? And it's kind of shocking that it did. I think it's always nice in cinema to have surprises like this, and I don't think anyone exactly saw this coming, but from two directors like the Daniels, what I'm not taking away from is how funny it is or how strange it is, but just how smart they were at directors. I think this is such an interesting, unique, beautiful little movie, and it's one that you're gonna remember because it's gonna touch you, but it's also gonna make you laugh and make you be able to go, hey, I saw that fart in Harry Potter movie, and people will be like, oh shit, what was that like? Because, you know, when you first hear about this film, it's very easy to disregard it, but I think the overall sweetness and storytelling of it and how kind of original it is really what makes Swiss Army Man kind of this unique, amazing fart joke of a movie that definitely carries you through and makes you believe in these characters. But also seeing like a lot of this film is about loneliness, it's about man, it's about all these different issues, it's about things that great movies honestly should, but it also kind of shows a freeness to cinema and a joy to cinema that I don't think a lot of directors, even indie directors who act like in their trailers they aren't really about those things. They're more cynical. This isn't actually a cynical film. You can be cynical cynical about this film, and it's very easy to be, it kind of just flies in the face of that, or farts in the face of that, you know. It's very much a 90s influence film from the 90s music video directors. It's almost like the humor of The Simpsons, but wrapped up into its own kind of unique thing as well. This is probably two of the most promising directors, just because you're like, holy crap, how did that work? And I don't think this is really for everyone, but I think by saying it's not for everyone, really, I mean, most people aren't adventurous enough to let this movie in and let it sit with you and stink up the place and really get it. I think this film will hold up to multiple repeat viewings, and honestly, I wish I could see it again, but I don't know when I would actually do that. But if it's on Netflix or something, I think this is a film you could rewatch again and again, because I could even tell, I was like, I bet you this film is even more interesting on a rewatch. Swiss Army Man has all these layers and interesting things about it, while still being kind of a fun budding comedy with farts in it. And I think that's what's really cool about it, is a great movie really shouldn't be what it's about, it's how it is about it. And what it's about, sure, is silly and stupid, and you can look at that and go, oh, well, you know, whatever, I'm too serious for that. But how it does it is absolutely fucking amazing. I mean, sure, they're montage heavy, sure, you're seeing these directors who mainly come from advertising and music videos making a feature film, and it's very obvious about that fact, but everything it combines within it makes it such a must-see kind of a movie. It's not perfect, but part of me thinks maybe on a rewatch I would feel maybe it's a little more precise than I think it is, but it doesn't feel that way. But it feels like a film that's waiting to be discovered and rewatched over and over again and delved into and figured out, but one that's fun and joyous and has farts in it. And I think that's the awesomeness about cinema, when you have a really smart, interesting director that can make a movie this much fun and have this many farts in it. And there's a lot of directors who could have smelt it, but there's not a lot of directors who could have dealt it. I really apologize, I got really into the fart thing, I don't know. So if you have seen Swiss Army Man and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.